Leadtionary 2023. Live on Facebook at Bishop Gideon Titi-Ofei. Every Thursday at 1900 GMT.
Hello there and welcome to another episode of Leadtionary, and thank you for making the right choice to put your time to some very effective use by listening to great conversations on leadership from our guest today, Bishop Titi-Ofei, and my name is Michael Obodu, your guest host. Bishop, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me to my own show.
You are welcome again. Today we are focusing on strategy as a leg of leadership that every person that wants to take leadership seriously must understand and fully implement. What would be your definition of strategy?
So, like they say, ideas rule the world. What leaders do is that they generate ideas and convert these ideas into inventions. It is when the idea becomes an invention that you and I benefit from the leader's idea. But for that idea to become an invention, it has to go through an environment. That environment has two things. Things that can kill that idea and things that can put life into the idea and grow the idea. When a leader sits down and draws a plan to invade, when a leader sits down, draws a plan, for the lack of a better word, dodge the ideas killers, and then use the ideas life feeders to feed the idea for the idea to grow. We say the leader is drawing a strategy. You understand? Yeah. So a strategy is the capacity to scan your environment and to ensure that you have the right responses to the things within the environment that can either make or unmake your idea. And this is what leaders do. When you walk into the office of a good leader, you don't see a pile of files and things that he's working on. At a certain level of leadership, you don't work on files. You think. You're generating the next great idea. And you are strategizing. Before the advent of smartphones, you will see a paper, you will see a pen, and you will see a cup of coffee on the desk of a leader. Coffee because he wants to stay awake. A pen because he wants to write the next idea on that piece of paper. So basically what leaders do is scan environments, develop the right responses to those environments, and make sure that they can invent their ideas.
So where do you start from in formulating a strategy?
First and foremost, every idea is a product of an information. So the first I of strategy based on what I've just discussed is information. It's information. What you are listening to or who you are listening to, what you are watching, what you are reading will either transform you or deform you. So it's very important that you choose who you listen to and you choose what you read. That is what happens. The content of your mind creates you. You are the product of the content of your mind. As a man thinketh, so is he, according to the scriptures. So you are the product of the content of your mind. So who you listen to determines the information in your mind. The information in your mind determines your decisions. Your decisions determines your choices. And your choices determines your failure or your success. If you are not impressed with your life today, Michael, go back to the last person you listened to, or the person you have been listening to, or the last book you read. Go back to your mind. Look at the information in your mind. If you are not impressed with your life, change the information in your mind. Your mind is the most powerful tool for success. But for your mind to be able to help you become successful, you have to be very important. You have to make sure that the information that goes into your mind has the capacity to inspire you. Has the capacity to inspire you. And when the information inspires you, it gives birth to what we call an idea. And this is where strategy begins. So strategy begins by first seeking an information that can inspire you, that can inspire an idea in your mind. Now, anytime your eye sees a problem, or your ear hears a problem, or your body feels a problem, your mind attempts to offer a solution. That solution your mind attempts to offer is what we call an idea. But the quality of that idea is determined by the quality of the information in your mind. Okay? So we all develop different levels of ideas. Whether your idea will work or it will not work is determined by the quality of the information in your mind, which is crucial, which is very important. That is why a leader without a library is a liability. So you need to create a library. The gym of your muscles is where you go to lift. But the gym of your mind is a library. And every leader must create a library where you get the right information that can help you generate the right ideas, the quality ideas that can change your mind. So create a library, and your library will create information in your mind, and that information in your mind will inspire you to generate ideas. And listen, you see, most people begin life at the muscles level as a labor. You provide only. So at a point in your life, you are being sent here, go here. The organization depends on your energy. Okay? So they depend on your muscles. You are young, you are moving, you are here, you are here. Only few people are able to transition from the muscle level to the mind level, to the mental level, where now the organization no longer depends on your physical strength, but on your mental capacity and your mental strength. That is what separates leaders from others. So information is crucial. I started my life at the muscle level. I was a youth pastor. I did all the errands. I was sent here. I was not part of the men that sat at the table to determine the destiny of the church. But once the people who sat at the table decided, I was called in to implement their decision. I was sent here. I was doing the muscles work. But now I do less muscles work. I do mental work. Your mental strength is stronger than your muscles. I tell the young people, the young ladies in our church, don't go for the man that has 6 packs on his chest. Go for the man that has 6 packs in his mind, who has exercised his brain and his mind is powerful and can make decisions. I said to you in this series that thinking is using your mind to solve problems. Worrying is using your mind to magnify problems. And consultants do one thing. They think for those who worry and charges them for worrying. So information is crucial, very important. Go for it. In fact, Michael, your value is determined by the information in your head. God determines your value by his breath in you, but man determines your value by the information in your head. So you go and apply for a job and you have a diploma. You are paid by that value, that level of information. You have a first degree, you are paid by that. You have a master's degree, you are paid by that. You have a PhD, you are paid by that. You become a professor, you are paid by that. I run a university here, and sometimes we have adjunct faculty members who come in here. And if you're a professor, your hourly rate is different from someone who is a senior lecturer or who is just a lecturer. So your value is measured by the information in your head. So leaders go for information. And if the information is quality, and if the information is good, that information now inspires them to generate ideas. These ideas are solutions to problems. So people who solve problems are people who have information in their head, and they convert that information into ideas. There are different types of ideas that leaders generate. Sometimes leaders generate what I call creative ideas. Creative ideas are usually ideas that are original. It's difficult to trace this idea from anywhere. You know, they are original and they are aimed at solving a certain problem. It's going to be the first time that somebody is going to use that idea to handle that problem. And then we have what we call competitive ideas. These are ideas that are generated in response to a competitor's idea. Okay? So I run a Accra Business School, and then suddenly I see another business school in town that is running a certain program, and attention is going on that business school. The next thing I must do is to do competitive thinking, to generate a competitive idea, to be able to beat my competitors. And then we have what we call strategic ideas. These are futuristic ideas. These are ideas that is generated because the leader is predicting that something like this may happen in the future. And therefore, I am generating a solution to that. It's called strategic ideas. And then we have what we call epiphanic ideas. This is what I do. I generate ideas when I'm before God and I'm praying and the Lord speaks to me. And then I generate those ideas that I can use, and that's the advantage I have when the Lord speaks to me.
So please walk us through the various types of ideas again. I had epiphanic ideas.
That is an idea that you get from the Lord. Okay. And then we have the creative ideas, and then which is the original ideas. Then we have competitive ideas. And then we have strategic ideas.
Yeah. Fantastic. Now, one of the challenge of the 21st century person is information overload, because it's now readily available. How do you go about curating the right information to give you the right idea?
So is it creating the right information to create the right idea, or seeking the right information to give you the right idea? So you must always know what you are looking for. You must always know what you are looking for. So the greatest discovery in life is the discovery of you, the discovery of your purpose, and the pursuit of that purpose. So direction is the discovery and pursuit of purpose. Once you have discovered and you are pursuing your purpose, then you know the kind of information you should. So first, discover yourself. From my personal level, because I was created in the image of God, the closer I get to God, the more I know God, the more I know me. The more I know God, the more I know me. The more I talk to God, the more I'm talking to myself. And it's been an amazing journey for me. And I'm speaking on facts. It's called the law of legitimacy. You cannot speak on what you have not successfully practiced. You know, I'm an ideas generator. I generate ideas and I inspire people. And I'm saying that when I seek information that helps me fulfill my purpose, that information that I seek is as a result of the discovery of who I am. So discover yourself and seek information that will help you grow.
When you finally have the idea after you've gotten the right information, where do you start with in formulating that idea?
So first, there is the information. The information inspires ideas. Then now what you have to do is to incubate the idea. You see, when I started developing the idea of starting a university, I knew that at the time, the environment would have killed the idea immediately. I had no name. I had no means. I had no friends in influential position. I had no money. I had nothing. But I had an idea. I said to myself, if I go tell anybody I want to start a university now, they will kill it. The National Accreditation then, which is now the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, would have killed it immediately. I had no money, no qualification, nothing to be able to start a university. So the environment at the time was not conducive for my idea of starting. So what did I do? I incubated the idea. So it was like pregnancy. The baby must be 9 months to be given birth to. When the baby is 9 months, the baby's heart is strong to breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. The baby's body is strong to stand the weather, etc., etc. That's why the baby is incubated in the womb for 9 months. When an elephant takes seed, the elephant keeps that elephant in the womb for almost 2 years. You know, when you plant a corn for 6 months, you are ready to harvest or less. If you plant cocoa, I think it takes you 3 years. You plant an olive seed, it will take you 10 years to harvest. So every idea has its own period of incubation, its own period of gestation. You know, you have to understand the idea you have and the patience to make sure that you have incubated it enough and it has grown enough and is ready to be launched into the environment. So guess what? So I started a training organization, the African Center for Leadership and Human Resource Development. And in my mind, I said, by the 7th year of this organization, we will have a university. And I started on build resources, build a good name, build a network, and now launch your idea.
Wow. So let me find out, in the incubation stage, at what point do you realize that it's time?
You see, when a lady is pregnant, on the 9th month, when the water breaks, there's no way the baby can hold it. The woman can hold it. If you try to hold a baby, you will die together with the baby. When your water breaks, you can feel it. You know that it is time. I can do this. You can see the indicators will be there that you can let this thing happen. So in my case, I realized that I had run short courses. I become popular. At some point, GTEC, which was then accreditation board, used to call me for resource persons to go and evaluate other things. So my name was there. So I felt I had made the name. And name is important. And I made a good name. It gives me a good will. It was there. I had made some money. I could buy a property. If not buying it outright, I could get a loan from a bank to be able to buy that property. I had the resources to be able to engage the people I needed for it. Once all these indicators were there, I knew I was ready. So in 2010, 2004, we were affiliate, the African Center for Leadership and Human Resource Development. In 2010, we had become the Graduate School of Governance and Leadership, GSGL. An accreditation board has accredited it. So I incubated over a period of 7 years or 6 years. I was patient. I was patient enough. I waited for my time. I just waited for the environment to be conducive, for my pregnancy to mature and become strong, for my baby. And when I gave birth to my baby, I knew this was a strong baby, because he cried aloud.
And it clearly was heard. But then I've just realized that in all that you've said, the incubation period gives you time to build capacity.
Yes. To build capacity, to build competence, to build character, and to get ready.
I'm gleaning from what you're saying that it's okay to start small.
It's very okay to start small. You see, your starting point must be very, very strategic. Must be very, very strategic. I see a lot of young people who come to me, have brilliant ideas. They want to start. They want to hire offices. They want to buy cars. A group of young guys came to me, and they had a brilliant idea. They wanted to start a website that was going to link farmers to buyers and all those things. It was a very brilliant idea. And they wanted financing. And they wanted a loan of $20,000 from me. Okay. So I asked them, what were you going to use it for? I don't have that kind of money. But what are you going to use that money for? They wanted to rent a 3-bedroom house. There were 2 guys. One was going to live in one room. The other was going to live in the other room. They were going to use the hall for a general office and used one of the rooms for the manager's office. And they had to buy a car because they had to move around and they had to buy a car and all those things. And I said to them, I ran my organization for 3 years without an office, without a car. And yet I've become successful. You don't need all those things to be able to run a successful organization. So your incubation period is a very, very strategic period. The choices you make, the decisions you make, and how you want to start. People just want to start things, and immediately they are out there and everybody knows them and all those things. I have been building who I am over a period of 30 solid years.
How crucial would you say mentorship is, especially at the incubation stage?
You need to learn from people. There are different levels of mentors. The first mentors that you can easily have access to is what I call peer mentoring. There are people around your age who are already doing what you want to do. Talk to them. The next one, I think this one should even come first. The first one is self-mentoring, learning from your own experiences and mistakes. The second one is peer mentoring. Now, the third one is what I call the mentor himself, the person that you want to mentor. There are different levels of mentoring. Most young people are looking for what we call ideal mentoring. Ideal mentoring. And ideal mentoring is where you have access to the mentor and you can sit down one-on-one with that mentor.
Doing now.
And in most cases, that will not happen. Because your mentor might be a very busy person that is meeting other people. And even if that mentor schedules you for an appointment, it may take a long time. And by the time you meet that mentor, your idea may have become outdated. Or the opportunity to implement it might have gone. Okay. Now, so what you do is that you move to the second level of mentorship. And that is mentorship by correspondence. If the person has written a book, if you can get a person's email to write to, or etc., etc. If you can attend the person's conference, if you can observe the person's life, etc., etc. That is another form of mentoring. And then a mentor by a person of history. You may not have met Kwame Nkrumah, but there are a lot of things about Kwame Nkrumah. You can do research about him and all those things. You know, if you want to build businesses, those businesses you are building, others have already built similar businesses. It's just that you are adding a certain dimension. Study those people, read about those people. When I started my pastoral journey, one of the key mentors was Mike Murdoch. I never met Mike Murdoch. I read his books. I would go to the Challenge Bookshop, buy his book. Anytime he was coming to Ghana, I'll go to his conference. I'll sit down with anything. And I had a very solid mentorship from him, but never met him.
I see. Now, technology seems to be fast-tracking everything, including incubation. But how do you make sure you don't miss out on going through the process thoroughly, even though things are moving at a fast pace?
You know, most technology, you have to program it. You have to put something in it for that thing to give you something back. It's just like fast food. You can't cook a fast food fried rice if you don't have the rice, if you don't have this thing to cut it and put them inside. So even though technology is fast-tracking things for us, but it also depends on the capacity you have and how you can use technology. And it's very important that we have that clear and understanding. There's no way technology can replace your personal skills, your personal capacity, and what you can. You have to download something into the technological space for that technological space to use what you downloaded and give it back to you.
Interesting. I'm just fascinated with all that you shared, and how do you learn this so in 30 years? I'm still fascinated. Like I'm just blown away, and I really appreciate this opportunity to learn a lot just listening to you share all that you've gathered.
I love having conversation with young people. I'm also enjoying this conversation I'm having.
I think I'm enjoying it more. So we've spoken about information, ideas, incubation, ideas, and then now incubation. So we've looked at the 3 stages that you'd have to follow through as a strategic leader. How far in the leadership journey would these 3 bring you?
In terms of time,
yes,
in terms of it always depends on what you are going to. It always depends on the vision. It always depends on the idea. So, like I said, an elephant will carry the baby for 2 years, but a dog will carry it for 3 months or something. It depends on how big that idea is. It may take you a year, 2 years, 3 years. It took me 7 years because I was not coming from the valley. I was coming from the bottomless pit. So it took me 7 years. Somebody may have the same idea I had that it took 7 years for me to have. Somebody may have that idea on a mountaintop and would take that person a year to have it done. You know, so it depends on a number of factors.
Sure. I have a question for you, though. When we come back from the break, I'm sure I'll be hoping to get the answers. You know, you mentioned earlier about starting small. So what then do leaders who, for instance, have to take up from people who have already started? What do you do to breach that incubation gap that you necessarily may not have had because you are taking up from an already established organization?
So when we come from the break, ask the question again.
He will do. So you're still watching Leadtionary here on Bishop Titi-Ofei's social media platform from wherever you're watching. Please stay with us. We're going for a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you more on all you need to know about leadership, especially from a strategic perspective. Stay with us.
Leadtionary 2023, live on Facebook at Bishop Gideon Titi-Ofei, every Thursday at 1900 GMT. Experience a revival. Experience an awakening at the International Pastors and Leaders Under 40 Summit. I plus 40, featuring Archbishop Duncan Williams, Bishop Takiya Boy, Reverend Steve Mensah, Reverend Ampia Kofi, Bishop Michael Hotungu, Bishop Adai Mensah, Bishop Victor Osei, Pastor Dele Olawane, and hosted by Bishop Gideon and Lady Olivia Titi-Ofei from 5th to 10th June 2023 at 7 a.m. each day at Christ Square, Pleasant Place Church, 29 Otuajan Avenue, Spintex Road, Accra. Free accommodation available to those coming from outside Accra. Ordination opportunity available. Call 0264 133 333. I plus 40 from 5th to 10th June 2023 at 7 a.m. each day. Theme: Fire Outbreak. Leadtionary 2023. Live on Facebook at Bishop Gideon Titi-Ofei. Every Thursday at 1900 GMT.
Welcome back from that break. You are still watching Leadtionary, and our guest, Bishop Titi-Ofei, is still here in studio with us, feeding us with great information on leadership. So, Bishop, I wanted to find out from you. So, for people who have to succeed other leaders, how do they make up for that deficits that they may have because they weren't, for instance, the initiators of the idea and having gone through that growth process?
Well, I think that leaders by themselves develop their own succession plans and prepare people to take over from them. And by so doing, they are able to equip the people to step into their shoes and even do better than they did. The first thing most leaders will do, if there are a number of potential replacement, potential successors, let me say, successors. Normally what they would do is that they would deliberately create what we call leadership development environment. There will be space around them. There will be job not well described, not well assigned, and it is there. And so there are jobs that people are not doing and nobody. I had the same experience when our registrar, at the time when we got the accreditation, our registrar suddenly left. No. And there were about 3 people who were all qualified for the position of the registrar. Promoting somebody immediately was a very sensitive thing for me, because then people were going to say I was playing the favoritism card. So I left it open. So I created a leadership development environment and see who would step in naturally. Then one evening, I was driving at where the school was located then, and I saw lights in some of the district. I was quite upset. My PM, why are lights on? Let me just go there and see what is happening. I drove there, and here was a lady together with security men arranging tables and chairs. Why are you still in the office? Why are you not gone? Oh, there's going to be examination tomorrow because there's no registrar. Nobody has prepared for it. So I'm just making sure we can get it done. So I'm sticking the index numbers on the tables and making sure this and this will happen and all those things. The question will arrive with an invigilator 30 minutes before the examination, and the invigilator will open it and have it printed, etc. and everything. So I stayed over to make sure I do it. I had my registrar because I deliberately let the job open, see who would just walk in naturally. I had my registrar, I had the case. So usually, successions are sometimes deliberately planned that way, where you leave people to fight for the position in the leadership development environment. The other way which others would do it is that, you see, pioneering leaders have this kind of, are multi-skilled. So they are multitask. So sometimes when you have to transition for others to take over, you actually will have to build a team where the various skills that you have are actually in various people. So you build that team around you and start mentoring them. And you know one of them will emerge. But when that one emerges, There are other complementary skills that can help that person even perform better than you, you know. It also depends. If you're a leader who wants to build a family business, then what you now have to do is to try to also start building one of your children to take over. But what you shouldn't do is that don't grow that child outside the organization. Grow that child within the organization so that it will build relationship, understand the organizational culture. I have a few friends and a few people I know who felt that their children would take over from them, took them outside the organization, went out to study. They just entered in and they were just promoted to the top and it was chaotic. You need to let them build relationship. You need to let them rise through the ranks. You need to let people have a little bit of a sense of fairness, you know, etc., etc. And then basically training, equipment, and other things. But there are people that are also intrinsically motivated. There are people that really want to step into your shoes and they will study you and even build more capacity than you and wait for you to leave the scene so that they can step in.
Interesting. So, Bishop, we've spoken about a number of things that one has to take into consideration with regards to strategy. You've told us about information, ideas, and then incubation. From incubation, what's the next stage?
The next stage is innovation. Innovation. Now, the idea is out there. The ideas is now being pursued by idea killers. Ideas killers, and then there are also idea stimulants that can help this. Now you have to be able to maneuver through the environment. You have to be able to know the valleys, and know the mountains, know all those things. Have a whole map of the environment. You know, map the environment and know where to navigate your ideas. You have to identify the people that want to kill it and the people that can feed it, the people that can grow it. You have to identify where you want to locate the idea, etc., etc. A lady came to me, for instance, who had a brilliant idea of starting a setting. She's already gotten a shop on the Sprinters Road and wanted to sell lace materials. But when she showed me the lace materials, the quality of the lace materials, I said to him, I grew up at Dabraka in an Islamic community, and Muslims really use the lace materials you want to sell. There is always a weekend of an Islamic wedding that people use. I said to her, this lace you have here, if you open the shop rather in a community around Mamobi, Nima, Adabraka, it will sell faster. It's part of innovation. So she said, really? I said, yes. So don't start on the Sprinters Road. Go to these communities and start from there. And within 2 years, she has opened additional shops. You get it? So you have to be able to know where to locate your ideas, the people that you need to be able to work with, how you want to glamorize the idea, you know, how you want to package it and put it out there for sale is very important.
You spoke about ideas killers.
Yes.
How do you deal with them?
They are not necessarily human beings. It could be policies. It could be government policies. It could be economic policies. It could be legal issues. It could be a number of them. Of course, it could also be persons who feel threatened by what you are coming out with, you know. So you need, if it's a legal issue, you need to engage the services of lawyers to help you go through. If it's a government policy issue, you need to, once one policy may disadvantage you, other policy may give you, so research is very important.
Okay, so you've spoken about innovation. What goes into innovate?
What goes into innovate is continuous creativity. You get it? Once the idea is now in the environment, you have to continuously become creative. Everything that your idea comes into contact with, you have to think fast. You have to find solutions. So innovation basically is what we call continuous creativity. You have to be creative. You have to continuously, and that idea must give birth to another idea for it to be able to grow. And that idea must give birth to another idea for it to be able to grow. And you must keep building on it from there. Let me show you why I named my first university the Graduate School of Governance and Leadership. So I've gone to the National Accreditation Board then, which is now JTEC, and I said I wanted to start something called University College of Governance and Leadership. And immediately they say, oh, for a university, you need 3 faculties. For every faculty, you need 3 departments. 9. And for every department, you need 3 full-time staff. So it means 27 full-time professors when I have not launched one program. So I came back and I asked myself, I came back and said, University College of Governance is a brilliant idea. Now that I'm confronted with an issue, I need to develop another idea that will even make it better. So I sat and I came with Graduate School of Governance and Leadership. So I went back to them and they said, Graduate School of Governance and Leadership. But it sounds like a university. I said, but it is not. It is not. It's just a school. They said, okay, we'll approve this. We'll approve. So what did I do? I wanted a university to appear in my school's name. Was going to be too much of a cost to me. But then I could give it a name that, I mean, who would say a graduate school is not a university? You get it? And it was even better. That is what we call innovation. So then along the line, we introduced undergraduate programs. The accreditation board said, no. You cannot be a graduate school and introduce undergraduate programs. So you have to change your name. We said Accra is already a marketed name. Everybody loves Accra in Africa. Accra is seen as a prestigious city. Anything coming from Accra is respected and it is valued globally. So why don't we why don't we hitch our wagon on Accra's horse? So we chose Accra. We said, even though we are a school of governance and leadership, our biggest program has been business. So why don't we just focus on specializing ourselves as a business? So as a business school. So let's add business to the name. And we still want to say we're a school, not a university with several departments that will cause financial loss to the school. So we came out with a name, Accra Business School, and immediately caught fire. So innovation is continuous creativity.
Talking about the school, how has the market been responding to it since the whole rebranding that you've spoken about?
It's been amazing. We didn't do rebranding, we did re-engineering.
Re-engineering, sorry. Re-engineering.
It's been amazing. It's been amazing. You studied here yourself. Every weekend we have different cohorts coming. So your weekend that you were studying was not the entire school. It was 1/4 of the school, and we are just a graduate school and we run 1-year programs, but yet every year we do not have less than 1,000 top executives studying with us.
Let me use the opportunity to talk about my experience with the graduate business school. So if you're looking for a university to do your master's degree program and you don't have the time and you're wondering about the cost, I must tell you that Accra Business School is the place to go, particularly because of the flexibility of the entire program. You only get to come to class Friday, Saturday, and Sunday once a month. The next month, you come and write a paper on Thursday, take your class, and you go on a break for another month. And guess what? You get to pay your tuition on a monthly basis. How flexible can it get? And I don't know how you came up with that idea, but I think it was fantastic. And I clap for you in my heart and my hands for pulling that off, because I think it made it possible for very busy people to be able to pull this off. I had classmates who were coming from various parts of the regions. I'm wondering how they would have done it if they had to do this every week.
We actually have people flying from Gabon, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, and everything to study with us.
Interesting. And all that from innovation. How do you feel about this?
I think I feel blessed. First and foremost, I feel very humbled, and I feel that I have a great team.
Wow. Fantastic. How crucial is your team to an innovative idea?
They make me look like I'm very wise, but they are.
Impressive. So, when you're done with innovation, what next do you do?
From innovation is where you now go into invention. Now, people begin to see. It's called the tangibility of your idea. See, when you develop an idea, the idea stays in an idea world. And most ideas are in an ideas world. Nobody can feel it. Nobody can touch it. Nobody can. But when you go through this process, now you invent it. Now you become an inventor. You create it. So Accra Business School is my invention. But it once existed as an idea. But now it's an invention. So it's a creator. And then when you join the team, the league of inventors, that is where you gain respect. That's where you are valued. You need a trophy to be celebrated.
Wow. Brilliant. So now, to put it all together, in order to develop strategy as a leader, you must have information, which will translate into ideas. Then you incubate your ideas and you begin to innovate. And then finally, you invent. Wow.
So once you invent, what it means is that your strategy has worked. You've studied the environment. You have gone through, you have responded very well to the environment, and your strategy has worked.
Fantastic. It's been very insightful conversation with you from day one. I must say, I've learned so much. It feels like I've taken a master class on leadership. But then let me also find out from you. See, then the next stage in all of this leadership conversation is mentorship. And I think it's one major hurdle that every leader will have to surmount at some point. Where do you start from on your mentorship journey to others? When you decide to mentor others, where do you start from?
When I decide to mentor others, you know, the difference between mentorship and coaching. See, in coaching, you, the coach, you determine what you think the coachee or whatever you want needs. You see, by mentorship, it's the mentee that determines what he's looking for. They set the timetable. They set so mentorship is a relational process in which a mentor passes on resources of wisdom, experience, knowledge, information, network, etc. to a mentee. First, it must be a relationship. Secondly, it is the mentee that determines what I want from the mentor. So scarcely will a mentor go. So there are things that we call mentorship program, but they are actually a coaching program that leads to mentorship. Because if I sit down and I develop a content of a program and I say, come for mentorship, of course, I'll share my experiences with you. But is that what you are looking for? Where it becomes mentorship is where after these 5 or so sessions I've had with you, you have learned a lot. You have discovered something. You have discovered yourself. Now you come back to me and say, Bishop Titi-Ofei, I have discovered myself. This and this and this and this is what I want to do. Can you help me? Can you facilitate my advancement? Can you use your network to help me? Etc., etc. Now you are telling me who you want to become. And once you have given me that information, I'm going to help you based on the information that you have given me. You have given me a blueprint of your life, and you want me to help you build it. And we are going to build that thing together. That is how mentorship is.
I see. And so you're basically saying that in the mentorship situation, a lot depends more on the mentee
than the mentor. There are a lot of people who want to pass on information. So they say, okay, I'm organizing a mentorship class. It is all right to organize a mentorship class because you're going to speak based on your experience. It is all right. But then it is a coaching session, not a mentorship session. But from the coaching session, now people begin to now come to you and tell you what they are looking for. You should set the pace. You should set the agenda. You should develop the curriculum for your development.
So what then should be the posturing of mentees then, since it depends more on them than necessarily the mentor, from what you've said?
Yeah, so I think that sometimes the problem with a lot of mentees, there are a lot of very disappointed young men who feel that I wanted access. We don't have access to these people. We are looking for these people and we don't have access to them. And you get it. I think that you help yourself a lot if Zacchaeus had to position himself in a way that he can be discovered by Jesus. He was a short man, and so he climbed a tree. Yeah. If you're a short man and you are not being seen in the crowd, and you still not climb the tree, why do you blame the mentor? So visibility is important. There are few people I've seen around in church, for instance, who are just there and you see they are going to pick something and you're doing something in church. They'll come to me and say, who is this person? When did he join the church? You know? And then I invite the person over for a meeting and the person said, oh, I came to your conference. I really love what you are doing. Then I said, okay, so what are you doing? What are your career plans? Blah, blah, blah. And I begin to listen to him. And then the mentorship relationship begins from there. So make yourself visible. Don't feel entitled. This generation has a lot of young people who really feel very entitled, who really feel that because I need you, you must be available for me. You get it? But that's not the way it works. It doesn't work that way. When I was growing up, I could chase people for years before having access to them. Sometimes people really feel offended when they say, and when you're going to see your pastor, they say you should book appointment. Booking an appointment is not a pastor being egoistic. It's a pastor showing you respect. How do you want to walk into a place where you go and meet people already queued and you stay from morning till evening and still not meet the person? The person must know you are coming. The person can prepare for your coming.
Interesting. But Bishop, to some of your generation who feel this generation has let them down a bit, so they've shut off and are not willing to proffer that mentorship opportunity to a lot of young people, what would you say to them?
I think that people have very unique experiences, and your experience will either make you bitter or better. It is your choice. You know, for some people, experiences from this generation have made them bitter, so they shut up. For others, the experiences from this generation, instead of making them bitter, has made them better. I have always chosen not to be bitter, but to be better. I've given people scholarship and hoping that after their school, I can use their skills that I have paid for to this thing. Immediately they finish, you just run away. You just leave. You won't see them. But I still give scholarships. I still give people the opportunity. I still am there. It is probably my nature. It's probably having been a pastor over the years, been born again for 40 years. I was only 14 years when I got born again. My religious life, my belief in God, my relationship with Jesus has really helped me to overcome a lot of weaknesses, you know. But I think that forgiveness is key in leadership. People should make themselves available to help this generation. Sometimes our generation feel you want me to help you and you are not showing good character, you are not showing good behavior. That is the help the person needs. It's a help to shape the person's behavior. So you see, you are complaining about the problem you are supposed to be solving. You get it? You're complaining about. Somebody may come to you and say, okay, the mentorship I need is that I want to be a motivational speaker. And I think you are one of them, and I want to come and learn motivational speaking. But then once you start relating with the person, you realize that no. This person doesn't, at this stage, need the skills of motivational speaking or public speaking, but needs character shape, formation. And you get it. Don't let those things put you off. Don't run away from problems you are supposed to solve.
Interesting. We still have a few minutes, so let me now make this a bit more.
When I help you to succeed, I'm actually helping my great-grandchildren to get a better world. What I'm doing for this generation, if I am able to build 1,000 young people to become very solid 1,000 good leaders in the next 20 years, in the next 30 years, in the next 40 years, where I might not be, my children will start having grandchildren who will benefit from the choices these great leaders are making. It is about investing in the future, investing in future leaders that will make the decisions that will affect the generations that will come after you.
Interesting. So much amazing information on leadership so far. But let me make this a bit more personal. So what's next for you, Bishop Titi-Ofei?
What is next for me? I think at a certain stage in your life, you work for posterity. I think I am at that place where I'm working for posterity. What is next for me is to create the next great leader. Conversations. You see, I believe that leadership conversations are the best way to teach leaders, to teach potential leaders leadership. So now I'm building the Theological Education and Mission Center to focus. I have a program called the Joshua Leadership Residency Program. It's a 1-year program that is funded by me, where I house 100 young people under the age of 30 who believe God has called them to become pastors. And I give them stipends. Every weekend I give them stipends. And I pour myself in them. And I fly in faculty members who come to teach them. So it's one of those ways I'm using to create. I also have the African Young Leaders Fellowship Program. So in November, for instance, I'm hosting the former First Minister of Northern Ireland, Alan Foster. He's coming to be with me and the husband for 1 week. They will be speaking on the African Young Leaders Fellowship Program, where about 300 carefully selected young leaders will come and be mentored, be spoken with, be nurtured, be groomed, be built up. And the last time I did, they flew in from different places to come to Ghana.
For where you sit, what would you say is the future of Ghana, looking at the young people that we have around?
When I look at you, when I look at those guys around me, first and foremost, who love Jesus so much, who love the work they do, and they are developing themselves, I think there is hope for this country. I think there's hope. We have more young people in this country than the old people. And any nation that has those young people, I think there's hope. What we have to do, we need young people that are courageous enough to take on political leaders who are shaping the future of this country. I think that our young people are too politically colored. I don't think they should be. From the TESCONs to the TAINs at our universities, they are too politically colored. Now SRC elections have become political, too political. I had an MOU where I was training SRC leaders every year. I have backed out a little because it is too politically tainted. And I think that is the bane of this country. I fear for this country because young people are beginning to think that the only way to survive and become big is to become a political activist. Sit on radio, insult people that have achieved what your father did not even achieve a tenth of, and then show your face everywhere in rallies. And then when your political party comes to power, you get a position that puts money in your pocket. When we define leadership as position, possession, and power, but not as service, sincerity, and sacrifice, then we are doomed.
Thank you so much for doing this, Bishop Titi-Ofei.
God bless you. Thank you for having me.
For being an inspiration to young people like myself and all the others out there. And it's amazing to see particularly that you do this proudly for the Lord. Thank you and God bless you. I'm grateful for this opportunity. Please make sure you visit all his social media handles and take your time and go through each and every one of them. And trust me, you'll be blessed, you'll be inspired, and you'll be better positioned to be an amazing leader. Thank you for watching. My name is Michael Obodu. Please stay safe.
Leadtionary 2023, live on Facebook at Bishop Gideon Titi-Ofei. Every Thursday at 1900 GMT.